And for more, let's bring in Joe Siracusa in Melbourne. He's a political analyst and professor of global futures. Welcome back to TRT World, Joe. Now, with manufacturing accounting for nearly 10% of US economic production, how quickly will these 50% tariffs on Canadian building materials and steel translate into higher costs for the everyday American consumer?
Good afternoon. I think they'll translate fairly quickly, as a matter of fact. Look, Trump is gambling here that the Canadians would cave in. They're not going to cave in. Prime Minister Carney made it very clear at Davos in January that he's no longer dealing with the United States of an earlier time. It's a different kind of a place. What he means is the administration. He likes to distinguish between the American people and the Canadian people. And I think the Canadians are going to fight back very hard. Now, what your audience may like to appreciate for a moment is the geography. There are 41 million Canadians. 90% of them live within 100 miles or 160 kilometers of the American border. They're completely integrated into American economic life, putting pressure on these people in terms of goods and services, making these tariffs is counterproductive. Trump has used these trade wars to conduct illegal activity. That is, he wants to force the Canadians' hands on a number of things. For example, he wants the Canadians to agree to all of America's tariffs, that is, to recognize what America does with the other 192 nations in the world. The Canadians aren't going to buy that kind of thing. And Carney, who was the governor of the Bank of England and the rest of it, he knows how to play this game. I think Trump has gambled and he's lost, and he's surrounded by people who have no sense of how bad these tariffs are. I mean, tariffs are a kind of a policy that was discredited in the 1920s and 30s. They don't make any sense. President Trump uses them to punish his enemies, to force them to do certain things. And look, in your package, the young man says something about this may cost the president in the midterms. Well, let me tell you, the midterms are already gone. Trump knows there's a blue wave coming. There's going to be a great Democratic majority in the House of Representatives, maybe a slight majority in the Senate. And as soon as the House of Representatives gets 218 votes, they're going to impeach the president and everybody he knows in his cabinet. So in a sense, the president is sort of in his bunker. He's hunkered down for some trade war, and he's lost it already because he can't win. He can't accomplish anything he wants between now and November. And I think, in a sense, he's following sort of a very unrealistic policy. He's stuck in Iran. He's stuck with these various tariffs. And Carney has shown middle states, middle powers and others, that you can fight back. And he's pushed back very hard. And the Canadians can make life miserable. Now, one other thing that Carney pointed out in his very important speech the other day, Prime Minister Carney, was that when Trump talks about the Americans are being ripped off by the Canadians, Carney rightly points out that Canada provides the United States with 99% of its natural gas imports, 88% of its electricity imports, and 60% of its petrol imports. I mean, what is he talking about? Canada provides the United States in every way possible. And if the Canadians want to pull the switch on that natural gas and oil and electricity, there are going to be a lot of cold people in the United States. And as summer comes next year, there's going to be a lot of people looking for air conditioning. Trump has followed, he's tried here very hard to get the Canadians to come on board. But, surprisingly, they push back. It's very hard to upset these people because they are integrated into American life. Don't get me wrong, they have problems with various American policies. But I think Trump's tariff diplomacy is self-defeating. It's not going to accomplish anything the president has set out. In fact, on the contrary, it's going to put things in reverse direction. The American economy will survive in the short term. In the long term, President Trump will be there. So I think Canada's ultimate policy for Trump is to wait him out, because in 2 years he'll be gone. My prediction is he'll probably resign after the elections, somewhere in January or February, because he doesn't want to be impeached a third time. But anyway, these tariffs haven't worked very well, and they're mischievous, and historically they don't work. Tariffs are like sanctions. It poisons the overall relationship, the diplomacy, and Trump's people should have known better. But you know what? They don't know any better, so now they're going to pay the price.
Over in the States, Midwest farmers are claiming that they're facing the worst crisis in 40 years due to the surging fuel and fertilizer costs that are linked to Trump's war in Iran. Has Trump underestimated the domestic economic blowback of his foreign policies, or, as you said, does he just not care at this point?
I don't think he cares. I think he's minimized the damage to the farmers. They need that potash for the fertilizer from Canada. They also need the fertilizer products from coming from the Middle East through the Strait of Hormuz. I think he thought they would take, in the short term, maybe some sacrifice on their part. But look, the war in Iran's lasted a lot longer than he thought. His trade war with Canada has lasted a lot longer. Trump hasn't counted on the staying power of other people to fight him. I mean, he's counting on the American people to take the hit in the short term. But you know, in America, Americans don't really much care about the long term. If you've got to get the crop in, or you have to build a cabinetry, as that other man said in your package, there's no waiting. There's no long-term policy if you're going to survive from growing season to growing season, or your business cycle. I mean, Trump has miscalculated, but what he's miscalculated on was not only the tariffs, which are historically disastrous, but he's miscalculated on the determination of the Canadian leadership to fight back. He's not counting. He wasn't counting on that. And you know, like Iran, they've won because they have staying power, and they're going to take the hit. There'll be a lot of Canadians who are going to be upset about what happens to them too. But the Canadian people are 90% are determined to follow the leadership here, and to go the whole distance with Carney. The president of the United States does not have that kind of support. His policies are unpopular. He is unpopular. His trade war is unpopular, and his war with Iran is very unpopular. In fact, the president has no ground to stand on any of these major issues.
Great to speak to you, Joe Siracusa in Melbourne. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.